May the words of my mouth and the meditations of our hearts be acceptable in your sight, O Lord, my strength and my Redeemer. Amen. Please be seated. For over 30 years, I had a dear friend named Brenda. We met living in Nashville just after college, first a work colleague and then quickly close friends. But as most young couples, or many young couples often do, after just 2 years, we both moved away. My husband and I moved north to New York City. Brenda and her husband moved south to Texas. In spite of living only in the same city for just a short period of time, we maintained and grew our friendship for the rest of those 28 years, communicating with each other just about every day. In the 90s, we were old school and we wrote letters. Remember those? We mailed pictures and we talked on the phone. Years later, once we both had computers and dial-up AOL accounts, we emailed every morning. And finally, as smartphones came into our lives, we texted. Shorter bursts, but multiple, many times a day. We talked about everything: religion, politics, our growing families, our purpose in the world. But admittedly, when you talk that often, most of our conversations covered frivolous things like the weather, our hair, recipes, how far we ran that morning, what movie we'd seen, and whether we had butter on our popcorn or not. Pretty boring stuff, actually. Well, that all changed one day when, out of the blue, Brenda was diagnosed with stage 4 appendix cancer. Tragically, before it was ever detected, the cancer had spread to all of her organs. It was bad, and she was very sick. But her will to survive was incredibly strong, so she took on this brutal schedule of weekly chemotherapy treatments. And she endured this for over 3 years. She also survived major surgeries, a hysterectomy, the Whipple procedure, and toward the end of her life, she even braved a colectomy. Her suffering year after year was unlike anything I've ever seen before, though she rarely complained about it in our still daily communications. So with all of that going on in her life, I started to feel self-conscious and even a little silly anytime I felt the urge to complain about my sore throat or the blister on my foot or a bad hair day. And as a result, I started censoring what I would share with her. What I considered a problem in 1 minute seemed like nothing more than annoyance, barely worth the time and energy to articulate it when I held it up against her suffering. And one day, I admitted to Brenda that I was holding back. And she quickly came at me, shocking me with uncharacteristic anger, and fired back in all caps text, yelling at me. "No," she yelled. "You cannot do that. We are friends, we love each other, and I need you to share with me, or else I won't be able to share with you." And she meant it. Her impassioned need for us to be a full and complete part of one another's lives, in whatever form that took, convicted me and taught me a powerful lesson. A lesson about the fullness of love. And that was the last time I ever held back sharing any part of my life with her, no matter how mundane, boring, or trivial my moment-to-moment life was. On this Maundy, Thursday evening, I hear Brenda's words echoing through Jesus' words and actions with his disciples. His love and life and ministry with them were built on their shared experiences and their sense of mission, but it was not just that which connected them. They were bound together by the fullest love, a love large enough to not only encompass the author of all love, God, but it was also a love delicate enough to dwell in the minute-to-minute, day-by-day, dirty feet of the human existence. Jesus was driving that point home with Peter, who initially objected to Jesus washing his feet. You get the sense that Peter was almost embarrassed by Jesus in this moment. There was his leader doing a servant's dirty work. But Jesus sternly calls Peter out. And like my friend Brenda said, no, you cannot keep parts of yourself from me. When we love, you are in me and I am in you, but not if you hold back. Think about the incredible power of this message. Jesus, the Son of God, is telling us through his life that he wants to know us, that he needs to know us, all of us. And in an effort to do just that, Jesus emptied himself completely. He didn't hold back. He wasn't divine, just pretending to be human. He was fully human, so that he could completely enter our lives and become one with us. That night with his disciples, Jesus showed us the truth, not just through his words, but also through his actions. And he washed the feet of his disciples, all 12 pairs of feet. And yes, that included Judas's feet, who was about to betray him. And then he went even further than that. Jesus offered them the bread and the wine, saying, "This is my blood, and this is my body. I am offering you all of myself. You are a part of me, and I am a part of you. There is no holding back." That is the definition of love Jesus shows them. And then he commanded his disciples to do the same. "I give you a new commandment, that you love one another just as I have loved you." Love one another. That is the message of this night. It's the call of our lives as Christians, right? They will know us by our love. It's our call as humans, created in God's image. And if washing one another's feet isn't an image you can relate to on this night, I offer you one more. It's a phrase from one of my favorite poets and theologians, Padraig Ó Tuama from Northern Ireland. Mo shiashima ortla no choice tine, an Irish phrase for trust, which literally translates to, "You are the place where I stand on the day when my feet are sore." You are the place where I stand on the day when my feet are sore. That is love. Love which shares fully and completely and receives fully and completely. So rest and restore your feet as Jesus washes them. He gives himself to you fully and completely this night. And stand in him when your feet are sore. He receives you just as you are. And in us, may Jesus find a place to rest and restore his feet as well. Amen.